Okay, thanks everyone. Welcome to the final session of today. The impact of a training of trainers approach to interdisciplinary teaching and learning. My name is Chow. I'm the Research Impact Manager at A&H Academy, and I'm joined by my two wonderful facilitators. Rosemary, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes. Hello everybody, good evening. Yes, my name is Rosemary Megu Isoto, and I'm from Makerere University, and I'm happy to be here.
Hello, I'm Anjali from India, and happy to be here. I've been in A&H for the last 7 years. Along with it, I work on the food system research. Hello, everyone.
So I'm sure you've heard about us, but just a little bit more in case you haven't. We're the Agriculture, Nutrition, and Health Academy Science Policy Platform, a global evidence platform accelerating actions towards equitable and just food systems for nutrition and health. We have 13,000 members in over 160 countries. And yeah, we do quite a lot, but our objectives are to add to the research and evidence, to increase knowledge translation and policy uptake, and encourage global sciences capability and collaboration. It's quite difficult to explain everything that we do in one sentence, but I'll try. We're probably most well known for our Academy Weeks, our research conferences. We also do learning labs. We give out grants, fellowships. We have lots of online resources on our website. And today, we'll be talking about our curriculum enrichment program. So that's just a very short intro about who we are, but I'd like to hear or find out more about who's in this room. So if everyone could pull out your phone and take part in this Mentormeter poll. I'll give everyone a few minutes to submit your answers. You can scan the QR code or go to menti.com and enter the code at the top. Oh, okay. Okay, mostly researchers and practitioners. Okay, great. Okay, next question. Oop. Let me just... Okay, the next question was about what discipline everyone is from. I guess we'll just skip this one for now. Okay, so curriculum enrichment working group. Throughout our learning labs and research conferences, we've heard consistent feedback from our community that there's a demand for learning and training opportunities. People want to share information and resources with each other, but there's a lot of information out there. It's difficult to digest, and people aren't experts in all of these different fields. So in response to this, we convened experts from subject matter experts and pedagogy experts to conduct a needs assessment. So they surveyed lecturers from across Asia and Africa to better understand their needs, what they were looking for, and to see what was out there and what was missing. Oops, sorry. To nobody's surprise, everybody is interested in interdisciplinary work. Everybody's asking for more interdisciplinarity. Every single nutrition conference we've been to at D4N and here, we talk about breaking the silos, about systems thinking and working together. But it's how do we do this? How does this work in practice? Especially in our educational institutions where Faculties work in silos, curriculums can be quite rigid, so how do we do this? First, we looked at what are the barriers. So we've said this before, curriculums are fixed. People don't have time to learn about different topics. They're not experts on them, so they don't feel comfortable teaching their students. And again, they don't know where to find resources or what they can use. So we've looked at some of the barriers to interdisciplinarity. What are the enablers? What can we do to support the lecturers who are looking to be more interdisciplinary in their own teaching? The Curriculum Enrichment Working Group decided to create, so they did a mapping and synthesis exercise of all the agriculture, nutrition, and health resources. They've compiled them, and there's free resources they're all on our website. So there's lectures, games, recommended readings, all of that is there. They also created 4 interdisciplinary modules on key topics like an introduction to agriculture, nutrition, and health linkages, gender, equity, and empowerment, One Health, climate change, environment, and sustainability. Again, all of this can be found on our website. They also decided to create a training of trainers program to teach people and train people on how to use and adapt these resources in their own environments. So I'm going to bring Rosemary, one of our master trainers, to talk more about that.
Thank you very much. This was a journey. It's been a journey. And as you can see, I'll just pick up from where she stopped. And if you look at what happened before 2022, there was that survey that was done. The work focus group discussions were done with the different lecturers all over Asia and Africa. That was prior, 2020, that was 2021. So in 2022, what basically happened, there was piloting of this. These interdisciplinary modules were created, the 4 that she's just been talked about, were created and piloted in the different countries and regions. So then in 2023, there was the master training. What happened there basically was a couple of lecturers and trainers were selected from Asia and also in Africa, and they were trained as master trainers. What was the idea behind? They should be able to help in training of the regional trainers. So that happened basically in 2023. In 2024, the journey continued. At this point, we had regional trainers who were selected from a pool. And by March of 2024, we had the first regional training in South Africa, where all the African regional trainers gathered together with the master trainers at that point. And then later in the year, in November, we had another training in Sri Lanka. Again, Asian trainers were brought on board, regional trainers were brought on board, trained on these different modules. Of course, what that entailed was really trying to adapt to make sure that they are customized to where the region is. What has happened over time now, what is ongoing? So these regional trainers have continued to train their own fellow colleagues, to train students and others who are interested in these modules, because as you can see, the modules are quite dense and they cut across. And also there have been other regional trainings. They've conducted different TOTs in different conferences. There have been during different academic weeks. This also happens where we talk to the trainers. And what else has happened? There are external conferences. Basically, the journey has continued for the different trainers, for the different master trainers as well, and for those regional trainers that have trained several of them, as you'll see later. And we can just quickly see what happened in South Africa. As you can see, Chao is somewhere there, always doing her thing. And then we had one of the master trainers, Michael Hill right in the middle, and myself, plus the regional trainers within Africa that were trained at that time. So the next one is the one in Sri Lanka. As you can see, Michael Hill is right at your left. Again, Chao is right there. And Angel is right, I think, the third are in the middle line. I think the first in the middle line. So this is the team of the Sri Lankan regional trainers, okay? And I'll hand over to Anjali.
Hello everyone. So you have been hearing words about master trainer and regional trainer. Some of them are present here. So can I request those who are master trainers to raise the hand? I'm there, Rosemary is there, and we have some of our regional trainers joining here. Can I request all of them to raise their hands? So we have Muzaffar, we have Tunki, we have Sunita, and we have Nadia from Pakistan. All of us belong to different regions. And what does master trainer mean? Does it mean I need to know everything? No, but I'm trained for a technique, how to deliver that technique of participatory method. That is what master trainer means. What does regional trainer means? They are equipped to train interdisciplinary topics. This is a training which follows a protocol, some system. So through this slide, I'm going to explain you how Mike, who was a trainer for master trainers, trained us to follow different things. The first thing he did was to focus on adapting ANH material. What does ANH material mean? Chow showed you presentations, which are available on the website. Why these standard presentations are there? Because we need to know the basic things about that topic, but we can mold it according to our regional experience. Every region differs in their understanding of nutrition, understanding of health, understanding of agriculture, and their practices. So we can use this basic set of slides to understand the theory and explain in practice in relevance to our regional experiences. That is what we used to do in the first point, where we say ANH material to suit the context of regional trainers. If you are going to speak about climate change and its relevance to Sri Lanka just now, last week there was an episode of a climate change, and we can explain in that context. Similarly, the context differs for all regions. The second thing, encourage the discussion how students and trainees learn most effectively with emphasis on engagement. When we started the session, Chow engaged you by asking about your professions. Till then, everybody was thinking what is exactly going to happen. But then when the first question was asked, the engagement happened, right? Again, we are going to discuss few things. There will be a rapport. And to develop that rapport, one of the things which we have done, we are not standing on the stage. We have come down because we want to develop that rapport. So these are some of the techniques which we are specifically trained to adapt them so that it can be an interdisciplinary learning. The third thing is about belonging. What does it mean? If there is a one-directional communication that I'm the trainer and you are listening, there is nobody student-teacher here. Everybody is experiencing research. Everybody is at different level. But unless I contextualize it, unless I involve all of you, you will learn that during this session how to engage, how to discuss, how to involve everybody and make them feel that this session belongs to everybody. That is engaging. And I'm doing that particularly because I'm trained for this, right? The second point, encourage discussion, which we have spoken about that. The third one, self-recollection as learner during master trainer session. Means what you have learned through this session. We are going to adapt this. When we are going to progress with this session, we are going to ask you what all of you have learned during this session. How did you feel about the session? And the same thing you are expected to do when you conduct the sessions. Last thing, enable regional trainers to explain their adapted session plans. So when we are trained as a master trainer, we were given a session and we were asked to make a plan, minute-wise plan, that when I enter the room, what is going to happen. Before that, how I will engage the participants. So you registered for this session. You read about the session. You got the introduction. So that was the first contact point with all of you. Why you are attained in the session, that was asked. Then we started the session. Slowly we are engaging you. And that is what your learning is, and we are going to ask more about it at the end of the session. Can we have next slide, please? Yeah. So when we are talking about engaging the trainees in the session, there are 6 points at which we can engage. The first point is before the session. We might provide some kind of information to those we are training that will give them a background about the basic concepts, about what they are going to learn, how they are expected to attain the session, what should they expect from the sessions. That all this happens before the session. The second point is when the session starts. So when the session starts, again same example, Chow engaged you. That was the second point. These pointers which I'm explaining to you, you are expected to embed them in your sessions when you plan them. The last point in the last slide was the session plan. So this is about the session plan. In addition to the slides which you have in context with your points, for example, ANH or any nutrition related or food systems, you are expected to engage the trainers in these 6 ways. First, before the session. Second, at the start of the session. Third, when we enter the session and we have introduced, slowly we will engage you. So can I ask maybe one or two of you, how do you do teaching? How many of you do teaching or training or present at the conference? Can you raise your hand, please? Yeah. Would one person from each table tell me, how do you engage your students when you start? Maybe a very brief example.
Maybe taking the introductions first from the participants, and then maybe doing some kind of a ice-breaking session. Yeah, so those kind.
Only thing, there are multiple points. So at the third point, we are talking how we can engage in the students. So there are, for example, during the lecture, how we can involve. Then there can be some kind of a group work. When we started the session, we all were requesting you to come in the front because there is going to be a group work, right? So some kind of group work in context with the topic can be given, which can engage students more or engage trainers more, give them a feeling of belongingness. You will get that during the session. The next point is post-session evaluation. So, sorry, I missed the 5th point, the engaging the students, identifying the key take-home points. What are the points that you can take back and that you can apply while planning your own session? That will be a take-home point from this session. Similarly, when you are speaking about certain topic, what will be the take-home points that you can discuss during the session? And after that, there will be a post-session evaluation. It helps you to understand what exactly you expected and what you have gained, and us to understand what exactly we want to include in the next sessions. So that helps both ways to improve our session. So whenever there is a successful training which is done and engagement which is done, if you participate in this program, you get a certificate. Some of us have a regional trainer certificate. Some of us have a master trainer certificate. Can we go to the next slide, please? So I'm going to hand it over to Chow for the next slide.
Yeah, so what has happened? Our last training session took place last year in Sri Lanka, 2024. Since then, it's been almost a year. We've had over 7,000 students in 30 countries who have been trained. And the materials have been adapted in various ways. They've been incorporated into lectures, into curriculums, used to inform their own research and practice. And here's some feedback that we received from the trainers. It's had an impact on their teaching. 90% of the trainers reported that they changed their approach to teaching to be more inclusive, to be more hands-on and active and participatory versus lecture-based. And they reported that they've gained a better understanding of the subject matter, but also of a way of thinking. There's also been a wider impact on institutions. So a lot of people have brought these materials back to the institutions and said, there's a gap within our curriculum. We're not incorporating some of these disciplines into it. And they've been able to make changes. So one person reported that they've incorporated some of the materials into their public health, nutrition, and policy course. They've included One Health into curriculums. Yeah, and they've also increased collaboration amongst institutions. A lot of the trainers have guest lectured at each other's institutions, have increased partnerships, and have applied for grant opportunities together as a result of this. And finally, what is the wider impact on policy and practice? We don't expect someone to come to a training workshop and immediately change policy. That seems quite a big ask. But we're hoping that through this experience, they'll be able to be better equipped to embed interdisciplinarity into their curriculums, into their research, their work, which will help them frame some of the work that they're doing when they present it to policymakers. We've heard from a lot of policymakers this week about using a systems thinking approach, about how do you engage with policymakers, what is the hook, how do you get them to implement your research into their work, and I think this has given them a better understanding of how to approach these engagements. Also, your students can be current policymakers or future policymakers. We want to make sure that people are receiving this kind of interdisciplinary thinking in their own education. And one of our regional trainers is actually working on the Food and Nutrition Security Implementation Plan for South Africa, and he's been able to bring some of the things he's learned from these training workshops into that work. So we can see that, even though we've only done 2 training workshops, that they've had, quite a big impact on teaching, on practice throughout the institutions that have participated. So we'd like to now go back to our 2 master trainers and hear a bit about their experiences and how they used and implemented these materials themselves.
Thank you, John. So when I registered for master training, I was thinking what exactly I'm going to go through. And I was provided with certain set of reading materials which explain me the certain concepts, which are away from a typical student-teacher relationship. These were the concepts, what are the threshold concepts. And after that, I had opportunity to train the regional trainers in Sri Lanka. And because I'm a nutrition researcher, nutrition health researcher, and I work in food systems, I had opportunity to go to different countries and talk to different people, but I was equipped with this technique, which I used in all my sessions after that. So you can do it in your relevant field, in your relevant student group, or your relevant research group. So I have conducted training in India, Geneva, Sri Lanka, and Thailand, different countries, wherever I went for the projects, wherever I got opportunity to engage with people, present my work. It was different audience every time. Sometimes there were medical students, nutrition students. So I had to, why I'm giving this background? Because I had to mold my session according to the background of those who are listening to me. That was the purpose, to ask you at the start what background you belong to and to engage you. So I changed my session depending on whether I'm training the nutrition faculty or working professionals, or I'm speaking in a conference, or speaking in a small group in the institute, or speaking in person, or whether speaking online. According to that, it changes. So you've seen now, in first case, the scan worked. In second question, scan didn't. You have to do, at that point, the adaptation of the session and go ahead. You have to do all these adjustments. But while you plan the session, you have to consider all these factors. Which topic you are dealing with whom you are dealing, what is the message that you want to do. And this is based on my experience. So I added sometimes the health context, adjusted the language sometimes, depending on whom I'm talking with. Then there was what worked for me, that, less content and more discussion, and expected the low participation sometimes. In some of the online sessions, the participatory approach didn't work for me. So I had to adapt at that time and go ahead and change the session plan and go ahead with that. A brief introductory session followed by separated session for junior or senior researchers sometimes worked. So we can't have everything together. Maybe the session plan changes, the way you increase the participation changes. All this needs to be planned by you when you plan a session, and you need to have a plan B for every session when you conduct. Next slide, please. So what worked for me? Simple and clear message instead of making it complicated. Accepting limitations of a set. No overcrowding, not too ambitious, and adjusting to the pace of the audience. If I go too fast, if I tell you too many things, you might be distracted, your patients might be, or you may feel not interested in the things. So we have to adjust along with the pace of this thing. What didn't work for me, very lengthy session because the span of attention was less. I can see some of you using WhatsApp even now. No response, unclear communication, and technical issues. We have seen one technical issue just now. So all of this didn't work during my sessions. Next slide, please. These are some of this was a slide made for my prior, so some points. Next one. Rosemary, please go ahead.
Thank you. So one thing that I have told my students when I start this is, what's the purpose of all this? It's really to think about how we've always done things. That siloed kind of thinking, of doing research, of doing everything. Where if you're a student, you're saying, I'm a student of agriculture. Another one says, I'm a student of nutrition. Another one says, I'm a student of doing something in health. And we are saying, no, these things are all interlinked. They are working together. So that's what I emphasize when I start to teach my students or to introduce this topic. So I had the privilege, of course, like described, to be trained as a master trainer, and then later on to share that knowledge, the skills, because now I had been converted to think that and to know that there is a linkage between agriculture, nutrition, and health. So I had the opportunity to have an online training in 2024. I had students from South Africa, Malawi, Kenya, Uganda, Zambia, about 19 students, and the session was fully online. So what did this entail? Again, using the skills given to us, I had to adapt the materials. The module that I did was agriculture, nutrition, and health linkages. I adapted it to the context because you know if you look at the material, there's an opportunity for you to adapt to the kind of people you're dealing with, just like Angelina talked about. So I had this session with them. That was 2024. Next. So what worked? Why did it work? And how do I know it worked? So what worked? Even if it was online, students were really, really interested. Some of them thought, but I'm doing only research in agriculture. I'm not interested in nutrition. But then they're able to realize that you need each other. There is need for us to work together as researchers of different fields. Even of students, you can do your research in agriculture, but bring in elements of nutrition or health. So I thought that that worked very well. Engagement, they talked about engagement at the beginning. Students were really, really engaged. We even had to be able to break into different sessions, the breakout rooms, and students were able to participate very, very actively. They're very engaged. Why did that work? Prior planning. Again, this is something we taught before, that you need to plan ahead of the session in order to make sure that people keep engaged throughout. So that prior planning was very, very important. And despite the fact that there's several other topics, of course, that I handled with the students, but when it came to evaluation, as Angeli already said, that you need to do evaluation at the end. So when it came to evaluation of all the courses that are taught, ANH linkages came top. That's why I was able to know that this actually worked. What are the future plans? I told myself in 2025, I want to continue spreading the message of interdisciplinarity. So I had another session with students from, again, South Africa. Now this time I had students from Mozambique, students from Zambia, from Malawi also again joined. So we had an online session again. And of course, using the experience and the feedback I'd received in the previous one, I was even able to adapt the materials even more. So I did that this year. And another thing that was introduced to us was they talked about in Tanzania when we had the NH Academy Week, they talked about the small grants that were going to be introduced for TOT and collaboration that I think Ochao talked about. This has brought about a lot of collaboration. I've been able to collaborate with some colleagues from Tanzania and a UK partner, and come 28th to 31st of January next year, we're going to be having another training of several colleagues and also students on these modules and these materials. So it's really a blessing that we're able to see all these linkages. Thank you. So this was stated earlier, we're going to have a group activity. Yes? Yeah, very good. I think there's excitement here. Let's have a group activity together so we can have, yes, the regional trainers, where are you? Yes, this is time for us to make sure that everybody is on board. So this group activity, what we are going to do is we are going go back, think about, even when you're here, think back about the institution you work with or you work for, okay? And let's try to think, to identify what are the barriers to interdisciplinarity. We want people to work together. We don't want silos, okay? So what do you think are the barriers to interdisciplinarity in your own institution? Okay, that's the first question. The second one is, what are those things you think are enablers? What is enabling the interdisciplinarity? If you have already seen that it's going on in your institution and that you might think it will help this interdisciplinary idea to really grow and flourish. The third question is, what are your institutions doing to promote interdisciplinarity? Some institutions are intentionally making sure that people are working together, okay? But others are not. So you can tell us about what your institutions are doing to promote this, working together. And then finally, what will you do now that you've heard about the importance of working together, okay? What will you do to promote interdisciplinarity within your own institution? So those are some of the quick questions we want to discuss now, okay? So we can get into our own, I think, if you're just one on the table, you can just move to the other table, and then, okay, so maybe we can have a group of 6, and then afterwards we can share. Let's be 6 on the table. I think here, this table just needs one more person. Here, can we have more 3 people? Thank you for joining. So another one person here, then it will be complete. Yes, some people can join that table. We can all move to the different tables. You can join this table, please. Okay, so what's going to happen in your table, just identify one person who's going to be taking notes as we discuss, okay? And we are going to spend about 10 minutes. Would that be enough? Maybe 15 minutes. Okay, let's have 15 minutes to do this activity. I hope it is not a very difficult activity. And we can all engage by, Okay, so regional trainers, where are you? Can we have one regional trainer on each table? Do we have a regional trainer here? You're comfortable. Perfect. One regional trainer per table to help. In case you have any question, just go ahead and ask. Okay, Chao is on this table. One regional trainer here. Okay, thank you. So, yes. Oh, you're already here. You can go there. Okay, do we have any regional trainer here? You can do it. Yes, sure. Your regional trainer? Yeah, you can join this table. Oh, Angel is there. Angel is there. Okay. So we are spending 15 minutes doing this activity. Then one person will summarize for us. Thank you. Okay, let's spend another 5 minutes. 5 minutes, so then we can start to present. So a majority of the groups, I think, are finished. And for the sake of time, we are going to share. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for your active participation. So now let's have one person represent the group, okay, to tell us more about what are the enablers, what are the barriers, what is your institution doing, etc. So each group will have 2 minutes. Okay, so we are going to have, this is group 1, group 2, 3, 4, and 5. So group 1, who is going to represent you? Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I have 2 minutes. Okay. So my name is Faiza Wahab and I'm from Pakistan, actually working for the German government. And this group work was really contributing by sharing experience from different countries, from Nepal, India, and Pakistan. And we have discussed like different questions which are given on the slide. And those are like, what are the barriers to interdisciplinarity? So we have discussed that, knowledge is a biggest barrier, because like if someone belongs to the like different department, let's say for example nutrition department, he or she would not be able to know the topics from agriculture, from health. So knowledge over here is a big barrier. And then system integration, actually. So everybody is working in silo and there is no system integration. So this is identified barriers over here. Also, like the curriculum, like if the department is about nutrition, it will only talk about nutrition, but not other lens like gender, transformation, or like inclusivity, equity, etc. And then priorities and the mindset, the interest. So let's say, for example, the departments are working, like different departments are working, so their mindset is just to work for their own interest. And the enablers are over here that, like if we focus on more system thinking approach, so like it can enable us that like one topic or one discipline can be think or like merge with other disciplines as well, because like nowadays every system works together. Without that, like in silos, there is no impact. And some like this, the other enabler is the ecosystem, collaborative ecosystem. Like different disciplines should work together, should have a collaborative ecosystem. And then inclusive knowledge, like if it is about nutrition, so like it should be inclusive with other topics as well. Then like what our institutions are doing to promote the interdisciplinarity. So I would give an example over here from the GIZ projects. So they are working on the social protection, and they are working together with the central data system as well as the risk management system and climate change system. So different departments working together, like nutrition as well, health, that how each system like influence other system, and how like different system can contribute to the other system if they can be enhanced. The last question is, what will you do to promote interdisciplinarity within your institution? So for that, sorry, okay. So like there is okay. The brainstorming was given by the colleagues that we should brainstorm about the topic, that how it can be influenced more if we connect it with other discipline, and also like respecting each other point of view, like also respecting the diversity within the different discipline or different groups, and this 360 view, like like thinking from different lens, like including the gender, also the disabilities factors, etc. And also working with sorry, media. Okay, sorry, this was a most important point, that like working with media would really disseminate the information to different people, also to different discipline, to know that what is the what is the purpose, or what is the importance of interdisciplinarity. Thank you so much.
Maybe we shall give a big round of applause for Group 1. So thank you very much, Group 1, for your sharing. So we're going to jump just to Group 2 for the sake of time. Group 2, who is representing?
Yeah. So my name is Dr. Farhana Shahid, and I'm faculty at Ziauddin University, Karachi, Pakistan. So the group has identified some of the barriers for the interdisciplinarity, and the foremost is the lack of vision and the mission within the institution for interdisciplinarity. And also there is lack of knowledge in the leadership to work as an interdisciplinary. And when we teach to the students, we always say that we cannot achieve our project objectives or targets until we do not have a multidisciplinary team. So this is the high time to actually think about each of the discipline to work along with the other discipline also, so that the project or the program objectives can be achieved faster and more efficient way. So and the barrier could be the lack of maybe the curriculum or the expertise to actually make this interdisciplinarity as a subject. So the enablers for that, we identify that there are presence of expertise within the each discipline, and also the professional associations and the professional councils are also available for each of the discipline. It is just that we have to make connections between these disciplines. So within the institutions, it is most of the time forums are available where these different disciplines, they sit down together, they present their work. It is just that we have to make them work together. So for that, for the last questions, what we can do is we have to, we take the example of ANH Academy, that we have to make some kind of a training curriculum which can be used to produce maybe more master trainers and the trainers who can make the people from different disciplines or experts from the different disciplines to work together and make the pool of the people who can actually bridge the gap between different disciplines. Here I would stop. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Group 2, a round of applause to Group 2. Thank you very much. And already some lessons being learned here. Group 3. Group 3.
Yeah, hi. I'm Dr. Shobha, and the quiz is actually quite interdisciplinary, I would say, and we come from different backgrounds, but then research is the core which we work on, and be it nutrition or agriculture. I think some of the barriers we identify are when we come together is role clarity of who will do what, and also lack of communication, not working in silos and coming together as a convergence, as an interdisciplinary model, and to look at how we can achieve the common goal. And also coming to how we would want to promote it is also having a vision, having a common goal, and also to bring together different stakeholders on a common platform. Like this is a good example. We are all here together to talk about intersectoral convergence. So I think this is a great example. And also another important thing we discussed was lack of accountability. I mean, that could be one of the barriers when in terms of looking at interdisciplinarity. So I think enablers and barriers go vis-a-vis, interchangeable. So I think if we could achieve some role clarity and also funding, I think funding is an important factor. If there's no funding, then systems don't work. So I think we need to look at from where we are getting the funding and how it is going to be a sustained kind of organization or working together. I think that's it. And if I've missed out on.
Thank you very much for presenting Group 3, unless Group 3 has somebody wants to add something, but I think that was awesome. Let's go to Group 4.
It's great that we're Group 4 because all the points that we had were already shared by the previous speakers. Still, the barriers are quite similar. There's the problem of knowledge, like a lot of, especially majority of us here are mostly young people, like still learning. So we feel one of the major barrier would be for a young organization having technical expertise from multiple disciplines itself is a challenge. So the knowledge and reach is a major barrier for us. Also the resource constraint. So in spite of having all the passion and even if technical knowledge, if we don't have the resources, then we can't really be interdisciplinary. The enablers is, for example, the policy environment in Nepal. So the government prioritizes multi-sector nutrition platform. So there's a framework existence. So even for us to align with government's policy plan and regulation, that's an enabler. That helps us prioritize multi-sectoral action. Again, just opposite of barriers, we feel having enough resources and having diverse people within our team with technical capacity on nutrition, climate, agriculture would really be an enabler for us. Also, platforms like this itself, because like in the past few hours, we've made so many people with the potential to implement multidisciplinary action within our organization. What are we doing at the moment is partnerships. We're working in consortium with, so for example, majority of us here are from health or nutrition background. but we partner with organizations working in WASH, gender, and agriculture, so that creating that consortium and partnership is what we're doing at the moment. And again, we organize different events where we invite diverse actors from diverse sectors, so that is what we're doing. So what we want to do is, again, now we know about ANH Academy, we feel we'll prioritize capacity building within our own team. So we become an expert on that. And we'll also prioritize stakeholders mapping of different sectors, so we can go and pitch to them and share our ideas and create opportunities of collaboration.
Thank you very much, Group 4. I think a huge gratitude to ANH for taking us this far, that we already have some modules where to start from. So I hand over to Angel to introduce the great Group 5.
Yeah, so let us have a clap for this group. This is the youngest group. They are still graduating, but they are showed the courage to, think about this. So let us cheer them up. And Group 5, last group, please.
Thank you so much. So thank you for giving this opportunity to express our thought on the one of the topic we generally don't talk about, and we sometimes don't get the chance to express our thought. Moving into the first question, what are the barriers? Similarly, there are everything has a pro and cons. Talking about the barrier, I think school of thought might be one of the major barrier, because when there are different school of thought, there might be people that oppose the change, or who doesn't allow other people to present their ideas. That might be one barrier. Another one might be language. Similarly, lack of knowledge in a specific field could be another barrier for that. Adding further to that, techniques might be different for every individual, so that also lead to the barrierness in interdisciplinary perspective. Moving into the second one, enablers. Knowledge is shared and can be implemented. Networking opportunity could be one of the enabler for a better interdisciplinary approach. Likewise, a broad perspective in different field might help to achieve a greater perspective in the relevant field. Moving into the number 3 question, I'm literally shivering. I think including the subject in the curriculum would be much fruitful for every individual to learn about the interdisciplinary approach. For example, I am an agriculture student. I am much aware and concerned with the happening in World Health Organization and different other institutions. Similarly, funding, workshop and partnership with other possible options to promote the interdisciplinary perspective. Moving into the final one, campaign programs interlinking different fields. Similarly, student exchange programs followed by conducting debate, helping students to about different perspective. Similarly, engaging different advocacy might be some of the things that would help to promote the interdisciplinary within my institution. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. You are feeling that having different disciplines is a barrier, but with our experience, we all can tell you that that is going to be an asset in future. So thank you for that thought, and let me hand it over to Cha.
So thank you everyone for your participation and for sticking with us to the end. So we've all talked about barriers and enablers of interdisciplinarity. And as we reflect back on this program and why it worked, a lot of those enablers are there. We had in funding and investment, we were willing to fund these 2 training programs. We engaged with, a very multidisciplinary membership. And we have opportunities to work together and collaborate and network. And Mike isn't here. We've spoken about Mike a lot, but he was our pedagogy expert who really led this program, and he put a lot of thought into focus on the pedagogic approach to interdisciplinarity, and I think that also was really what contributed to making this program, or to making this program work. So before we head off, does anyone have any questions for us? Okay. No? No?
Actually, no. Actually, not the question, but I just wanted to share few of my experience. Is it okay? Because we talked about this TOT or the training session, but what my experience is, I have means conducted training from community to teaching with the university graduates. So it depends, because we talked about the process, methodology, barrier, and enablers, no? So I think it varies, differently. It varies, like in community, if you are facilitating the community participant in the community, then the barrier or enabler or something, methodology, everything. And while you talk, uh, means to conduct training with adult participants in the community, then the adult learning, no? So I think it's also depends and it varies. So I think if you have time, then maybe you can share your experience with us, global or regional experiences. Thank you.
I think you are absolutely right that it differs by whom we are talking to, which group, and we can discuss it more over the session, like we are here around 2 years. But I totally agree with your point that it differs by whom we are training.
Okay, so before we end off, I'd like to let Rosemary and Anjali share with us one takeaway each. But I will just say that I think a lot of you have said the importance of collaboration, of partnership, working together. Yeah, so I think this is one of those opportunities for us to come together with different disciplines from different regions, share our knowledge, and work together. And after this, we're going to have a networking dinner. So more opportunities to speak with other people and learn from them. Yeah, so thank you all for joining us today. Anjali, Rosemary, one takeaway?
I think I have already discussed some of the points, but definitely this kind of training helped me to get in touch with people, learn interdisciplinary way, understand the principles, and how to adapt to that training and the resources that are provided by ANH, the PPTs and the reading material, and how to plan a session, how to conduct. That definitely helped me in getting more response, getting the attention, because attention span is reducing nowadays. So it helped me, again, like Rosemary said, we could collaborate at a larger level. We could think about the possibilities. We could learn in the interdisciplinary way. So this has definitely helped in enriching us and helping, we are expecting more hands to, explain this ANH training and expecting more trainers. Thank you.
Related to sharing experiences, I just wanted to ask if ANH has a living portal where you can post a question anytime. Let's suppose, since we all are a community now and we've tried to engage with each other, but in future when we're working and we encounter a problem, so can we ask a question on a particular platform, or can we send a query, or if there's any process, please let me know. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. So you can, please do sign up and join our membership. It's free. You'll have access to all of our resources and everything on our website. You can reach out to us at ANH Academy at lshm.ac.uk. But all of that is on the website. You can also, we have a web form on the site as well where you can submit questions, feedback, and we will get back to you.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
In one line, because I know everybody is quite exhausted. Yeah. So during COVID time, we got stuck within home and not going to office. So that time also, I got managed some time. I took out some time, and I am having a FOMO with online training of ANH. I don't know how come I got to know that time about ANH and online training.
So it is very, very impactful for me. So just wanted to share my experiences with it.
Thank you. Anybody else? Cha.
Thank you very much, Chao and Anjali. I think one thing that I've really appreciated is this opportunity that ANH has given us, of course, first to meet like this, but also the fact that it has so much to offer in terms of materials. I remember one of the tables talked about there's not enough, this needs to be embedded in the curriculum. This, at least we have a starting point, I think. And I think let's take advantage of that. Okay, I think we can go very far in the collaborations and really having that kind of system thinking. So I just want to thank each of you for taking your time to be here in this room. We appreciate. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Chow, shall we gather for the group photo after session?
Okay, thank you again, everyone, for being here. And please do join us at the networking session, which is just outside in the square. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh, also, before you leave, if you have not yet, please sign the registration form. Yes, which is being circulated. Perfect.
If you have 5 minutes, can we have a group photo? Can everybody gather here? Do we? Can we gather in the front, please, quickly, because everybody has to go for a group photo. Can we have all of you here? Come along. Please be quick. Can we have you in the group photo? Please.